Hello crafty friends, this is Amy. Let's get started. I have one of the candy cane forms from Dollar Tree, and I'm using some of the Clothesline that I have had a bunch of it. I'm using it for different videos. Just tying this on, and I'm going to take each segment and wrap it around each segment at a time, and I'm just kind of showing you. Try not to do it really tight, because when we get to the next segment, then we'll need to go in between those pieces. So I'm just finishing up a segment now, moving over to the other, and I'm just using the string and going in between, just like I had mentioned. And you just carry on and go through till you are completely done. When you get to the cane part, the curve, the top part is going to be a little more spaced where it comes together in the J, or the curve. It's going to be a little tighter. And so just do what you need to do, to make that work. On some of these I glued, and some of these I tied just to see what works best. The tying does actually work a little better. And I did glue down the string in certain areas just to keep it from sliding off. Just carry on and do what you need to do to get it covered. I also want to mention that this is a green form, a metal form, and in hindsight, I would have started by spray painting it white. At the end, I did end up going through and just spot painting spots that were green that showed through. If it doesn't matter to you, then that's okay too. I just kind of thought it should have been a white before I started, just to match our cording. And if you were going to use green floral stuff, that'd work out perfectly, however. Or you could use green ribbon or whatever. But you can see here I'm just showing how I did paint a little bit on there to cover it up. When I used the fabric, I used about 2.5 yards of fabric. If you had some, if you had ribbon, that'd be even better. And so I just kind of made my own ribbon by, folding over the end and hot gluing it. And then I'm just going to put it down with some hot glue and wrap it like you would a candy cane. I'm just putting on a bow, making it fit nicely and trimming the edges just to make it kind of pretty, and doing the little dovetail in the end. I think that's what it's called. And this is a Dollar General ornament for $1. It looked perfectly to go on here. The reds matched nicely. And so here it is, our finished little candy cane. DIY number 2. This is a new technique I've learned. It's called sublimation, and what it is it's ink that's printed in a certain, I'm not sure how it works, but the designer printed this, and these are the directions. So it's a special printer, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this design and put it on polyester fabric, and I ended up finding a piece of clothing that was 100% polyester, and because the directions said, you know, use as much polyester as you can. And then this is just a fat quarter that I got from Walmart, and it matched nicely, so that I'm going to use that for the back of my pillow. The directions came with it, so I heated up my iron that I use for vinyl. So you turn over the sheet onto the fabric. You leave that, there's a cover piece, leave that intact. And then what I did that you really can't see, if you look really close, you can see it's somewhat rubbed, like in the direction that I was rubbing. The ink kind of spread a little bit. So what I would say is lift and press rather than rubbing it directly like this. But it's the very first time, so you learn with each time you do things. And so again, this is called sublimation technique and just look at how nice that turned out. It was so crisp and clear. And so because I'm making a pillow, I had a 16-inch pillow form, and I cut the fabric 16 by 16. This polyester fabric is quite stretchy, and so the directions I was using said you can give yourself a little extra if you want to, but she said she likes it to fit snug, and so she uses directly 16 inches, and that's what I chose to do as well. And just work slowly with your machine. Now you can see at the top the iron did touch that somehow, and anyway, what I did is I just stitched a bow on the top to kind of cover that up. So there's another error that I made that you'll be careful not to do. And then just stuff it, and then I just did like a that stitch that I can't think of the name of that stitch right now, but just stitch the ends together and it's finished. It just turned out really good. I'm very impressed with sublimation. I think it's a nice technique, and I bought the pattern off of Etsy, and it was about $5. And so I just feel that was definitely worth it. And I had really a lot of fun making stuff. The hardest part was finding polyester fabric, which I ended up just using a piece of clothing, you know, and kind of cut it up. So, yeah, very impressed with my little gnomies. Okay, last DIY is number 3, and this is using the Mary. It's a wooden piece that you can get from Dollar Tree, and I'm just trying to get the little reindeer separated from the Mary. So the reindeer is going to have this wood look, and then the Mary will have that checked look, and that checked stuff, that is just tissue paper I got at Hobby Lobby. And I think it's probably tissue paper that you use for wrapping gifts and things like that. I didn't separate anything. There really wasn't anything to separate. I've showed this technique before. You apply Mod Podge and allow it to dry, and then when you heat it, it reactivates it and melts it down. And I covered a little box. It was actually 2 boxes I glued together, covered it with fabric, and that's where I'm going to put the Mary. And now I'm just trying to decide. I wanted to add the word Christmas to it, and so just using some large pieces of It's a large popsicle stick that I got from Walmart has these. You get them in a package. And use the paper and then just some rub-ons and came up with that Christmas word. And trimming down some of the greens because they were longer than I liked, and just adding to it. I added pine cones and little red berries just to give it some prettiness, and I debated about putting on lights, but I didn't. And so when you put things together, you can, with the greens, I just did the hot glue, but with the Mary sign and the sign that I put on the front, use a combination of your hot glue, which is an instant hold, and then your E6000, which is a permanent bond. And so it won't come off down the line. I want to thank you for watching my video. I have so many things I want to show you. Please consider subscribing, and if you press the like button, then that helps my channel. Thank you, my friends. Have a good day. Bye-bye.